All right, guys, we are going to be reacting to the first time you realize America really messed up. Part one, let's not jump in and see what's going on.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Literally early this morning, I dragged my ass to the embassy, which is an hour away from where I'm living in the Netherlands. I get into the embassy, I do my thing, I go up to the window, and I'm getting my passport name changed. I need a new passport so that I can leave, go back to the States to see my family, and come back into the country here. And I've been waiting for this meeting for over a month. I give the woman all of my stuff, and she's like, okay, great, where are the stamps? And I had printed out a checklist from the embassy website, and there were no stamps on this checklist. But apparently I needed to bring a couple of stamps so that way I could pay for the postage for the government to send me my passport, which I already have to pay for. And I already have to pay taxes in America, but I obviously don't see any of the benefit because I'm not living in the country. Why can't you just pay for my stamps? So now I have to wait 3 more months for another appointment to get my passport.
So I'm moving to Portugal and I have somebody that's helping me with the visa process over there. And she's asking me questions about my income. And I say, yeah, I have a full-time job and I also run 2 businesses. And she's like, that's a lot. And I said, yeah, I do work about, anywhere from 80 to 110 hours a week. But, it's what's necessary right now. I need to take care of my son. I need to manage all these different things. And I need to be able to afford, a pretty good life. And she said, well, don't you make over what the minimum is required here in Portugal? And I said, yeah, no, I definitely do, but I need to be able to take care of all those other things. And she's like, how do you have time for your son? I'm like, well, it's not the amount of time that I'd like, but that's what's necessary. And it just was really clear to me, like with the confusion, that they actually have work-life balance and you just don't work yourself to death. You can actually enjoy your life.
Hi.
And that's a current thing that you hear a lot in a lot of these videos, that they're like, oh, you need to have the work-life balance. And clearly in the American system, that's not even a topic.
I've been living in Spain for about 11 years, and this happened like 11 years ago. It was my first time going to the emergency room, and when, stomach problems, whatever, couldn't stop throwing up. And I go in, give the girl at the front desk my ID and my debit card. And she takes my ID, checks me in, hands both cards back to me. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I give the debit card, I pay at the end. So I go in, everything, give me medicine, and I go back out. I stop at the front desk again, and I was like, hi, I'm leaving. Here's my debit card. And she just looks at me and she's like, I don't know why you keep giving this to me. You don't need to give me your debit card. I don't get it. And I'm like, oh, you don't have to pay for health services, even in a private hospital.
Okay, I have another one.
That is so weird, bro, because when you go to a doctor in the United States, you don't give them a debit card. I don't know what the experience is. Don't get me wrong, our healthcare system is messed up. It's messed up. But you don't give like a credit card to your hospital, like unless they ask you, okay, if you don't have a plan, I guess you probably can have like a payment plan. But the majority of Americans do have a healthcare plan. That was kind of weird.
When I was studying in Spain, we had our orientation the first week of classes, and our program director sat us all down and had to explain our health insurance to us and how it worked. And basically it worked that you paid like €1,000 for the semester and you got health insurance, like free health insurance for everything, covered everything. And she had to sit us down, and she had this big group of Americans in a room, and she was like, listen, if you are sick, go to the doctor. And we were all like, yes. And she was like, no, like Americans don't go to the doctor. You won't go to the doctor when you're sick. So I have to tell you every year to do this. And still kids will just put off going to the doctor because you're used to just like pushing through illness. No matter what it is, I don't care if it's a cold, go to the doctor. And she had to actually like spell that out for us.
Okay, so I was living in Thailand and I got into a motorcycle accident because the guy in front of me turned without a blinker. Like he was on a moped and he just kind of turned into the side of me and just knocked us both over. And so my motorcycle landed on my knee and I couldn't walk, so they needed to call me an ambulance to go to the hospital. But like I was like, I can't afford an ambulance, so the whole time that they're like, the ambulance is coming and they're like putting me in the ambulance, I was like, how much is this gonna cost? How much does this cost? Like I someone can pick me up, how much does this cost? Because like in the States it could be like $4,000 to get a 15-minute
It's true, man. Here, man, if you don't have a plan, it will cost you a lot of money. It's true. I'm not gonna lie. It's
ride to
true.
the hospital.
It's true,
And the
guys.
guys just laughed at me, and they were like trying to figure out the word for it, and they're like, free. It's free. And I was like, huh.
It's a lot of money, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's a lot. If you don't have a plan, going to an emergency room, you get picked up by the ambulance. It's gonna be a lot of money. So I'm not gonna lie, guys. That's the God's truth, guys.
I'm a black person living in Japan right now. And yeah, so when you're in America and you're shopping, you're browsing, whatever, sometimes, not all the time, in my own experience, I've never had the experience of being followed around because of my skin color, because I just don't shop that often. And sometimes when I want to go get something, I know exactly what I want. I go in, I buy it, and then I leave. But here in Japan, when you go in and you're browsing for something, the employees are walking around to help you. So they may follow you, but they're not following you because of your skin tone. They're following you because they want to help you. They want to take the initiative and be right there when you need them, when you're ready to pay, if you have questions, whatever the case may be.
Hey, I live in
Yeah, that's had to be very messed up. The fact that you know, probably had to be fearful because the way you look, that's kind of messed
Ireland,
up.
and I've lived most of my adult life here. I moved to Ireland in 1995. My teenage daughter was born here many years ago, and when she was born, I spent 2 nights in hospital before she was born. I had an emergency cesarean section, and then I spent a further 6 nights afterwards. The total cost to me was 0. I kept asking them, like, are you sure no one wants my credit card? Like, do you want my details so you can send me the bill? And they would just like laugh, like, oh, you're American. There's no bill. So 8 nights in hospital,
Damn.
emergency procedure, 0 bill.
So when I was in high school, I was a lifeguard.
Yeah, it's the bill, man. That's true. I've seen some cases where people don't have a health insurance, like they're not paying for health insurance, and the bill come in, and it's like thousands of dollars. It's just a ridiculous amount of money.
And during my lifeguard training, they taught us that before we even administer first aid or CPR, we had to ask for consent to avoid being sued. Now fast forward a couple of years, and I'm in London as a waitress, and my company sends me to go do CPR training. And while I'm there, they go over the same stuff that I learned in the States, but I notice that they're completely glossing over this one particular area. So I raise my hand and I ask, what are the laws here? Like, how do you avoid being sued if something goes wrong? To which every single person in the room starts laughing at me. Says, oh, you're American, right? Yeah, no one here is going to sue you for trying to save their life.
Okay, I have type 1 diabetes and I lived in Costa Rica.
Crazy.
The very first day that I was there, my insulin pump stopped working. This was like some weird fluke, unrelated to anything else. But I didn't have a doctor yet or really know where to go, so I went to a pharmacy because I needed to get long-acting insulin so I could still treat my disease. And when I went to the pharmacy, the insulin was $20 for a vial. In the United States, I pay $322 for that same vial. I also want to add that I got the insulin over the counter without a prescription.
And this is another thing. Yeah, this is something that you see a lot over there in Europe. In a lot of different places, you can literally just get this under the counter. You can get medicines under the counter. You don't have to go to a doctor to get a prescription, none of this stuff. That is just very common practice.
In the United States, I have to see my endocrinologist 4 times a year to get a prescription for a medication that keeps me alive.
Here's a fun one. So I'm teaching 3rd grade in Thailand, right? And it's sports day. Kids running around, screaming, having fun, as kids do. And I hear a bang. Instantly, my heart drops into my stomach. My entire body tenses. My adrenaline starts pumping. And I'm looking around for the shooter. And then I realize I'm in Thailand. And people don't have guns. And they don't shoot children.
Ah, man, I don't know. I mean, these Americans are, some of them are kind of exaggerating. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm gonna keep it honest with you. Some of these Americans are exaggerating a little bit, guys. Yeah, they're exaggerating.
A balloon popped.
Yeah, because a balloon popping sounds the same as a gun. Like, you have to be insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes they exaggerate. I know we don't have it perfect here, man, but some people are just so full of themselves.
Fuck you, America.
So I don't live abroad anymore, but for half of 2018, I lived in Germany, and I have so many stories. The town that I lived in had like a main plaza area, and there was a cafe in that plaza. So a couple of my other American friends and I decided to try it out one day, and there was a construction site nearby. We heard a really loud bang, and, you know, we kind of assumed that someone had fired a gun, and so we, like, ducked for cover, and then we were looking around frantically, trying to find, like, a place that we could run to or hide to get out of the situation, and then we realized that no one had shot a gun. No, it was a loud bang from the construction site. That's it. That's all it was. We'd been speaking in English, and we all have really obvious American accents, so all the Germans around us gave us these really sad looks, like, oh, these poor, poor Americans.
Damn. Oh,
I've
what the
lived
hell?
abroad for a little over a year, and coming back.
I don't know what the hell's going on with these people, man. I'm just a regular American over here, just having a different experience. Some of this stuff. When it comes out to the healthcare, it's very believable, guys. Don't get me wrong. Some of these stories can be true. Some of all the stories. I've been around one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the country, and never when somebody's shooting, it's gonna sound like a balloon. Never, guys. If you had used guns or being around guns, you know very well it doesn't sound like a balloon. Just be careful. Some of these Americans might be just being a little bit too facetious.
The holidays, I have really come to realize that the food in this country is garbage. Since leaving the US, I have lost about 40 pounds, and I have not tried to lose weight. I haven't been conscious that I'm losing weight. It just has naturally fallen off of me because food in other countries is not overprocessed. It's not packed with sugar and preservatives and all of the things that are in the food here. And since being back, even for the short amount of time that I've been here, I have found it extremely difficult to maintain my weight, even though I'm not overeating. I'm eating basically the same diet I was eating abroad. It's simply the way the food is processed. So moral of the story, try eating organic as much as possible. This food is killing you.
That's true, man. The American diet is very bad. It's very bad. I mean, I'm talking about you have to fast to just get rid of a lot of the chemicals that we have in our food. So a lot of these folks are telling the truth, and we in some ways kind of messed up, basically. Let me know what you guys think, guys. I will see you next one.